Welcome back to Queens Behind the Scenes, where we empower women to lead, transform, and shine. And today's episode is just solo, it's just me here. And it is talking about breaking the feed and staying informed online without losing yourself and or your mind. I thought it was important to talk about because I know for me in the past weeks, I have, I'm just starting out on a journey of like podcasting and my book and I have my coaching business, but I really did have to take a beat. Last week, my grandmother passed away the week before, and we had the funeral and the wake. And so for me, I needed to step back and take a beat. But also, the world is literally on fire. It does feel uncertain. The times do feel uncertain. I mean, they are, right? And the 24-hour news cycle can just get to be a lot. For me, it has. I can't lie about that. It has gotten to be a lot. The scrolling. I mean, I don't know if you're anything like me, but I can literally scroll and like get in a rabbit hole. And now I'm going down this rabbit hole. And then I have to remind myself my energy management, right? I have to remind myself exactly like, what am I feeding myself? What is my what am I giving my energy to? What am I giving my attention to? With every reel, with every curated reel, every hot take, every headline, my phone can feel sometimes like a lifeline, but sometimes like a life drain. And so for myself, I had to take a beat and I wanted to, talk about living in these uncertain times and protecting our peace online. So not to shame anyone who's scrolling, because listen, I do it too. Obviously, I just talked about getting caught up in my scrolling and my rabbit hole, but it's to remind us that like our attention is power, right? Attention is power and attention is energy. What you decide to give your energy to is energy management. And so I wanted to talk about that today. I also wanted to talk about, screen time creeping up. I know for myself, it was creeping up to be 4, 5, 6 hours a day of screen time. And to say, I was like, something's got to give because I'm putting it's funny because my daughter told me, she was like, oh, I deleted TikTok, I deleted blah blah blah, I deleted this or I deleted that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like maybe that's something that I should be doing. So I did have to look at my consumption of social media and everything. So for the past week, I had gotten off of just like not doing as many reels for sure for myself, but like not looking at as many. And then when I decided to come back online, I was like, all right, let me get out of my cocoon and, whatever. I was literally, I'm not joking, greeted by a reel, and it was, I think, Megyn Kelly calling Jamel Hill ugly. And I was like, I just dropped the phone. I said, well, damn it. Because honestly, what the fuck are we doing? And where are we at? Where it is totally okay to consume information where a woman is calling another woman ugly and that they need a filter. Like that's where we're at now. And there's no insight there. Like there's no providing any insights or data or anything useful. It's clearly just an insult. And I was like, this cannot be what I'm consuming. Like, I really just can't. Yeah, for entertainment purposes, it might be like whatever. Well, that was ugly and awful, but I can't devote my energy to things like that. So I will say, I had to realize it's not because I'm weak either, right? Like I thought, okay, this is some self-control shit. Like I got to get up. But it's also, I mean, let's be real. The apps are designed to keep us hooked, right? No one's designing an app that nobody wants to use, right? They want to make some money. They want people to use it. So that's how they're designed. So that is not, I don't like to classify us. I mean, it can become a self-control issue, obviously. But I also think that the design of our social media intake and our news consumption is designed that way. And I wanted to share a data point with you because I talk about energy management and getting rest. So according to the American Psychological Association, 43% of US adults said that stress from the news caused fatigue and sleep issues. And that was in 2023, so I can't imagine it's any better. And women were more likely than men to report feeling mentally exhausted by news consumption. I don't have a data point, I don't think, about using social media, but I mean, that probably sounds about right. So let's release the guilt because awareness is the first step. We want to be aware, but we've got to release the guilt about it and kind of make adjustments to our own if we want to. And I know for me, I wanted to. I was like, I need to kind of do an audit of what I'm consuming, because that does affect my output, my energy output, my energy which I'm inputting, it affects my output. So how I'm treating other people, how I'm showing up, those things are affected by what you consume. So, and the intersection of black women is, for us, the stakes feel higher because we're expected to be informed and resilient. Even when the feed is so heavy, we're tagged to speak up and share resources. And it's a beautiful responsibility, but it can be heavy. Data, another piece of data, the Pew Research found that Black women between 25 and 49 are among the most active social media users in the US. And it also reported this with some of the highest rates of online harassment and fatigue. Again, a data point, I believe, from a reputable source. So if you're feeling the tension, just know I am too. And we are giving ourselves permission to step back, because it can just feel all so heavy. And, the last few weeks of news to me have felt like a year's worth of news. And I'm going to give you an example of myself. I was watching the news and it felt like the news stories just kept escalating in severity, even though they were all serious. I mean, they went from kind of serious to like, okay, this shit is serious. And I was actively in that moment getting a panic attack from the, I guess, escalation of the stories. And I was like, what is happening? I literally had to turn it off and step back. What are you consuming? Why is it triggering you? What is going on? And I think there are among a lot of triggers, right? Like, it is scary. The world is a scary place right now. I mean, people are going to work with the National Guard with, machine guns or some kind of gun that I don't know what they are. They're big. And they're walking their kids to school, and people are worried about the kids getting taken. And Black people and people of color are worried about just the usual racial profiling, but now it's been exacerbated with the world that we live in. And it is scary and it is heavy. I know I have to unplug. And so I'm hopeful that today I'm able to provide some resources for us. So here's a shift. Let's think of our feed like a plate. This is how I started doing it. It's funny. So I said, some posts are veggies. They're nourishing. They're real grounding. Some are like candy. You get them in moderation. I love me some, I have guilty pleasures too. I love me some candy, which is literally some Real Housewives clips or some political satire. I love it in consumption. And then some information is straight up toxins. Some of it's like, that shit didn't add any. There's no insight. There's nothing in it but something it's gonna take from me. So that shit can be eliminated. So ask yourself, do I feel expanded or drained after this? Do I feel expanded? Do I feel like I gained some insight, some knowledge, something? Or do I feel completely and utterly drained and I want to go take a nap? If drained, mute it, unfollow, set, if it's a comment, listen, delete, block. You won't be coming in my space. Try the no scroll before coffee. This is one of the things that I have been really kind of intentional about lately. I'm not picking up my phone as soon as I wake up. I used to do that. I would get up. Let me see what's on this phone, because it's going to ping and pong anyway. I have it on D&D, except for my kids, my mom, and my siblings. But and sometimes I'll be having to hit the hold up, y'all. But I have really had to say, okay, no social media before I get out of this bed. No social media before I get on the train or wherever I'm commuting to or whatever. I've had to do that because right when I wake up, I can't control what's the first thing that's going to pop up. And if that first thing is something toxic, you've already tried to set the tone for my day. Not you as in a person, but the algorithm, myself. And so, yeah, that's one of the things that I'm doing. So think about it as a plate. What are these? Are these veggies? Are these is this some veggies that are keep me grounded, keep me healthy? Warriors. Is this some warriors? Or is this some sensational shit? right? Is this some candy? Like, candy shouldn't really be on my plate anyway. So this little dessert here is maybe for not every night, but sometimes. Is this a lean protein or protein? I would say that's kind of like the things you need to know, right? You need your protein. You need to know these things, but again, too much of it can also cause issues as well. Do you feel expanded or drained? And again, if you feel drained, unfollow. The no scroll rule. That is, I have been, again, I told you I've been really intentional about that. Curating a joy feed. I have actively been going to accounts that make me feel happy. Actively. Okay, this is funny. There's this kid that is always pranking his mom, and it cracks me the hell up. And it reminds me of my son as well. And I will have to find the handle and put it in. Any mom with a boy that has been a teenager or a young adult will crack the hell up, because the kid is always pranking his mom with some crazy shit. He wanted a girlfriend to come over, take a bath. It was in her tub. It was funny, but I have to have these feeds because it's like makes me laugh, and I can also run and show my husband, like any like husband wife humor. I'm always quick to show my husband. Those things fill me up with joy. Now, are they the most informative? No, but sometimes I just need to laugh. Sometimes I don't need information to be, I don't need it to be coming in to be insightful if it's humorous and it adds value to my day, and it does. With the joy feed, I have actually created a joy audit that I am going to have as a downloadable for this episode. So I have created that too. That it was something that came out of my journaling, and that I was like, you know what, I'm going to share this with viewers and all of that. I did want to share another quick stat. Research from the University of Pennsylvania showed students who limited social media to 30 minutes a day reported significantly lower levels of anxiety and depression after 3 weeks. I got to tell you, I believe that too. I mean, the data tells a story. I say that a lot, but it just truly does. Building your offline power. So I want to talk about that. So another practice I do love is offline power hour. 1 hour a week, no screens, just me. I do that a couple times a day. I say a week for those who are not used to spending time with themselves. Start out with that, but I have to have an hour a day where it is literally just myself, me, my thoughts, and myself. Whether that is no thoughts with meditation and I'm just doing kind of some breathing exercises, but it has to be something that is just centered in me. Journal, call your mama, stretch, walk, talk, any of that stuff. Those are great power, offline power. Grab a friend, make it a digital sister check-in, log off. Last week, my girlfriend called me and was like, she hadn't heard from me. Me and her we talked for about 2 hours catching up. And it was just with the doctor order. I really needed it. And yesterday, my sister-in-law and I went fall. I hadn't really felt very good the past week because, my grandmother, and also I had a cold. So that was the other thing. And we went fall porch shopping. We got these fall porch packages, and it was just like super fun. And I decorated my porch again what the doctor ordered, because you can't pour from an empty cup. And sometimes the shit that's coming in that we're receiving from online, from whether it be Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, wherever you are online, hell, the TV, YouTube TV, wherever it is, sometimes it just is draining. I tell you, when I had been off, and the first one coming back, and I saw that clip of that insult towards Jamel Hill, it not only pissed me off, of course. I mean, I just don't know when this started just being acceptable, just insulting people, like, and be, women, middle-aged women, just a middle-aged woman just insulting someone and calling them ugly. And that's like cute or funny or anything that's not, that's ugly and it's draining. Goodbye. So I got on and I was like, see, this is the why the hell. And then I got back off. But then I was like, no, I can control what I see and how I consume things, because, again, you can't pour from that empty cup. So I do have a call to action for us. You're not just a consumer of content. You're curators of your piece. We curate our own piece. I've said that before. We curate our piece. So every unfollow, every boundary is an act of self-love, and self-love to yourself, and then love to the people that again, what you consume, what your energy is, and what energy you consume, affects your output. So it also is love for others. I'm challenging you this week to share your digital self-care ritual with me. I would love to hear what you're doing to with your digital hygiene? How are you maximizing your health, your peace, your boundaries? How are you managing the noise? And be more deliberate about thinking of that. Like, how am I doing that? And I know for like creators, it is hard because you're creating, right? But you also have to know things to create. And it is a hard balance to strike. I'm just starting in the space and it's hard for me. So I could only imagine someone who has been doing and at this for years. But you too, sis, you need to probably, do an inventory of what you're consuming because I'm sure it shows up. Let's flood the feed with ways that we're reclaiming our energy and our time. I would love to see that. And if you want a little extra support, again, I have created the Joy Feed audit. It's a downloadable that I'm going to be connecting to this episode, and I'll have a link in my comments and so forth. So I will have that. And it was something that came from me journaling how I was managing my Joy Feed. And I turned it into a little resource that can be used for others. And hopefully you can find it as helpful as me. So stay crowned, stay grounded, keep that energy tight, manage that energy like you manage in everything else. Manage that energy like you would manage anything else. And always keep that crown tight. Until next time, thank you for joining me.